How to care for a begonia. You know, you've hit the flower jackpot when your plant is known for its brilliant flowers and its fancy foliage. The begonia has both of these lovely features. On top of that, they are relatively easy to take care of, whether you plant them indoors or outside. In summary, the begonia is an awesome plant. Follow these steps to learn how to care for this perfect plant. Method 1. Indoor Begonias. 1. Choose an indoor type of begonia. This list of begonias that grow well indoors is extensive. It is important to remember that some types of begonias are grown for their brilliantly colored flowers, while other begonias are enjoyed for their unique and beautiful foliage. Most begonias bought at nurseries will be labeled as indoor plants or outdoor plants. If you are still uncertain of whether or not your plant will work well indoors, ask an employee at your local nursery. 2. Plant indoor begonias in a good indoor potting soil. When potting your begonias, you should keep 3 factors in mind: the type of soil, the size of pot, and the amount of soil you use. When choosing your potting material, you want the soil to be relatively neutral or slightly acidic on the pH scale. Your pot should roughly fit the size of your plant. You want to keep root growth in mind but do not want the pot to be overly large. A pot that is too large can lead to using too much soil. When a pot contains too much soil, it can lead to soggy soil that could potentially drown your plant roots and kill your begonia. 3. Place indoor begonias where they get bright light. Begonias like a lot of light, so place them on windowsills that face east or west so that your plants get several hours of sunlight each day. Avoid southern windows from February through September, as they let in too much light, unless you hand thin curtains that filter the light. If you choose to use fluorescent lights, you should place it 6 to 12 inches above your plant. You should keep the light on for roughly 12 hours a day, though some begonia growers leave their lights on for 14. Keep in mind that you will need to water your plant more often when you use artificial light. 4. Keep indoor begonias warm. You will want to make sure that the minimum night temperature is 55 degrees Fahrenheit, 13 degrees Celsius. Begonias do not handle cold well and will suffer from lower temperatures. 5. Water begonias carefully. Water your plants when the surface of the potting soil feels moist but not soggy wet. You should water your plants more frequently when it is warm, the light is bright and the begonias are flowering heavily and putting out new growth. Water your plant until water runs out of the drainage holes. Let the potting soil dry out slightly between watering during lower light and cooler temperatures of late fall and winter. If possible, use room temperature water that has been distilled. Promptly empty drained water from trays and saucers. Mist the foliage of Rex foliage type begonias twice a week or provide high humidity to avoid leaf drop. Use warm water in a misting bottle. 6. Fertilize your begonias. You should fertilize your plants with a water-soluble fertilizer for blooming plants once a month from February through September. You should fertilize your plants less frequently during the late fall and winter months, because your plant will not be growing as steadily during this time. Mix the fertilizer according to the label's directions. Wait 3 months before fertilizing if the potting mix you used contained fertilizer. 7. Groom the plants regularly. You should remove dead flowers and leaves. You should also trim off broken stems to promote plant growth. Dust the leaves if it is needed. Remove the small flowers of Rex-type begonias as they start to bloom to concentrate the plant's energy on foliage. Method 2. Outdoor Begonias. 1. Pick the right location for planting. Plant all types of begonias outside in a partly or lightly shaded location after all danger of frost has passed. Use tuberous begonias for planters or hanging baskets. Use fibrous rooted begonia for creating beautiful flower beds. Place begonias where they get early morning or late afternoon sun to ensure that you get the best bloom. You can also place them in a location where they get dappled sunlight all day. Avoid sitting begonias in containers on hot surfaces such as asphalt or concrete. Start tuberous begonias inside 3 months before your last frost in the spring for best blooming results. See notes on how to start them. 2. Plant your begonias in fertile soil. Begonias like fertile that is rich in nutrients. You can create this sort of soil by adding peat moss to the area, as well as thoroughly rotted compost. You also have to make sure that your plant's roots have good drainage or else they could rot. Try to avoid planting begonias in areas with strong wind, as they have weak stems that can be damaged by large gusts of wind. 3. Water outdoor begonias. You want to make sure that you water begonias so that their soil is moist but not soggy. This means letting the top inch of soil dry out before water the plants again. Soggy soil can lead to a rotting or dead begonia. Water begonias planted in containers until the water runs from the drainage holes. Dump the drained water out of any trays or saucers immediately after watering. Check hanging baskets of begonias frequently as they can dry out in one day. If you find that the soil is dry to the touch, water the plant. 4. Fertilize begonias. Begonias prefer a balanced fertilizer, meaning that the fertilizer is neutral rather than acidic or basic. Work a slow-release granular fertilizer into the ground where you plan to plant your begonias. Read and follow the label's directions for the amount to use. Repeat the fertilizer application in 3 months by gently working it in the soil around the plants. Use a water-soluble fertilizer for blooming plants once a week if you do not use a granular fertilizer. 5. Remove dead flowers and leaves frequently. Doing this will ensure that the healthy parts of the plant are free to keep growing. 6. Cut back your begonias. Cut back bedding or fibrous begonias to 3-inch (7.6 centimeters) every 4 months in mild climates where there is no frost to renew the plants. This will ensure that they continue to grow and remain healthy. Bring in bedding begonias that were growing outside to grow inside for the winter. Dig them before the first frost and pot them. Cut the plants back to about 3-inch to start new growth. See indoor care above. 7. Enjoy your beautiful begonias. Tips. No begonia has a long lifespan. Most live only 2 to 3 years even with good care. The tubers of tuberous begonias often last 4 to 5 years with good care. Bring tuberous begonias inside after a light frost but before a freeze. Cut off the foliage and allow the pot to dry out. You can lift the bulbs and store them in peat or store them in the pot. Keep them in a dark, cool, but above freezing location where mice can't get to them. In early spring, pot tuberous begonias, or repot stored tubers indoors. Plant tubers with the hollow side up, just barely covered with potting soil. Put the pots in bright light and water regularly. Plant the tuberous begonias outside after all danger of frost has passed. Tuberous begonias need a winter rest and don't make good winter houseplants. Riker or Alaudier begonias and Lorraine-type begonias also have dormant seasons. Wax begonias, the familiar outdoor bedding begonia, will bloom all year if kept warm. Cane-type, angel wing, begonias and the Rex or foliage begonias are also good indoor plants. Cane types will go dormant if the temperature gets too cool. Warnings. Many begonias have fleshy, brittle stems that are easily broken. Keep them out of wind or areas where they will be bumped. Overwatering is the biggest cause of indoor begonia death. Do not keep pots too wet. Things. Mist bottle for Rex begonias. Potting soil. Blooming plant fertilizer.